Immediately after the release of the first Sly game, Sucker Punch began conceptualizing a sequel. The game was announced as Sly 2 Band of Thieves and was released in 2004. After the enjoyable first game, I am eager to see what the sequel has to offer and whether it is able to improve on the established formula. Two years after Sly defeated Clockwork, he's back to his old way of life as he breaks into the Museum of Natural History together with Murray and Bentley to steal the Clockwork parts and destroy them for good. Unfortunately, it turns out that the Clockwork parts have been taken away. After this realization, Sly is confronted by Carmelita and her new partner Constable Nayla, but Sly makes a run for it and safely escapes Cairo together with Bentley and Murray before they can be arrested. Out to get the real thieves, the Claw Gang, the Cooper Gang heads to Paris, where they find a member of the gang, Dimitri, who runs a nightclub. The Cooper Gang takes him down and obtains the Clockwork tail feathers. Afterwards, Dimitri is arrested by Interpol. The next stop is India, where Rajan is selling illegal spices and is in possession of another Clockwork part. But not for long, as Sly and the rest of the gang steal the Clockwork wings in the ballroom by using a disguise. Rajan escapes to a spice growing facility where he holds more Clockwork parts. The Cooper Gang tracks him down and steal the Clockwork parts. However, Carmelita, the Contessa and Nayla show up. Nayla reveals her true intentions and betrays Sly, Murray and even Carmelita, who all end up getting arrested. Luckily, Bentley manages to avoid being captured and follows them to the Contessa's prison in Prague. The Contessa turns out to be a secret member of the Claw Gang who uses her position to find out where inmates hide valuable goods. Bentley frees Sly and Murray, but the Contessa escapes to her castle estate before the Cooper Gang can take her down. Once it turns out that the Contessa is hypnotizing Carmelita to become her servant, Sly is hell-bent on stopping this evil spider. They free Carmelita and steal the Clockwork eyes. Meanwhile, Nayla is now a captain and arrests the Contessa. Another member of the Claw Gang resides in Canada, and thus the Cooper Gang head there to stop Gene Bison, who is trafficking the illegal spices by train. Sly and his friends sabotage his trains and attempt to win the Clockwork talents at the Lumberjack games, but are caught cheating and are captured. Bentley shows that the brain is mightier than Brawl and defeats John Bison, who reveals that he sold all of the Clockwork parts to Arpeggio, who now holds all of the parts. Sly, Bentley and Murray head to Arpeggio's blimp to prevent him from reconstructing Clockwork. On the blimp, they discover that Nayla was Arpeggio's agent this whole time, and it was her task to retrieve the Clockwork parts so that Arpeggio could achieve immortality. But Nayla does what she does best and betrays and kills Arpeggio, turning herself into Clockla. The Cooper Gang teams up with Carmelita in order to take Clockla down. However, before they can do so, Clockla takes Bentley and Murray hostage. After crash landing in Paris, a final battle ensues, which ends with Bentley removing Clockwork's hate chip, which was what made Clockwork immortal. Unfortunately, Bentley ends up getting crushed by Clockwork's beaks, which leaves him seriously injured and unable to walk. Carmelita destroys Clockwork's hate chip, which finally causes the Clockwork parts to disintegrate, bringing peace back to the Cooper family and the world. Carmelita wants to arrest the Cooper Gang, but Sly voluntarily surrenders if she allows Bentley and Murray to escape. In the helicopter on the way to the Paris police station, Sly and Carmelita share a relaxed conversation together, reflecting on their lives and interests. After wondering why it is taking so long, Carmelita comes to the realization that the pilot has been dispatched and that the helicopter was flying in circles. At this moment, Sly makes his escape, jumping out of the helicopter, while Carmelita vows that she will get him next time.
I'll be seeing you soon, Ringtail.
What is great is that the story and gameplay are now intertwined, so as you are sabotaging and spying to achieve your big heist, you feel much more involved, making for a very satisfying story where it feels like your actions actually matter. Murray has been transformed from the shy dumb driver into the hilarious and intimidating Murray that is a force to be reckoned with. The story itself is now much more grandiose, with you hopping between areas all the time, now with a total of 8 episodes, while also being filled with plot twists and even more spectacular action scenes. So the story of this game is going for the bigger is better mentality. And it certainly works, as I was engaged from start to finish. The intro in Sly 2 is even better than that of the first game, which already had a great introductory level. From that point onward, the game just keeps on giving, as instead of deviating paths per hub, there's now one large map in each episode where you can complete missions in order to pull off a big heist at the end of each episode. Usually you get a selection of 2 or 3 missions, thus giving you as the player freedom in what order you tackle these missions, which is always great. In between missions you can go back to the safe house to switch to another playable character. Each hub world contains a total of 30 clue bottles. Collect all 30 and you will get access to a vault that contains a power-up. Sly is now even more fun to control as he is much more agile, allowing you to quickly adjust your jump in mid-air, making him feel much less stiff to control. Aside from that, Bentley and Murray are also fully playable and can explore the hub world for themselves instead of being forced to only do minigames. Bentley is the weakest out of the 3 playable characters, thus while playing as him you need to rely more on his tools, while Murray is the exact opposite, leaving out stealth for more brute action, being able to take out enemies with just 2 hits. You can now pickpocket enemies to get keys and coins, but you can also obtain a piece of loot which you can bring back to the safe house. Aside from that, you can also find treasure located in the hub world. Once you pick it up, a timer will start, and if it runs out, the treasure will explode. If you manage to bring this back to the hideout without getting hit, you can sell the treasure for a large sum of coins. And I felt much more incentivized to do this as you now use coins to buy upgrades instead of using them to get an additional hit point or life. That is because instead of dying in 1 hit, you now have a health bar, allowing you to take multiple hits before dying. You can now restore your health by picking up health that can be dropped by defeated enemies or by broken objects. Out of all episodes, episode 1 is easily my favorite as I like the level design and atmosphere of Paris, and Dimitri is easily the most memorable antagonist of Sly 2 as he is really charming with funny quotable lines.
You think you have juice? Don't show me a little mind when talking about such big things. You think you can swing the bat? Show your bling and let me shine you.
On the other hand, episode 7 and 8 are less fun to play through as the levels aren't as well designed, making the sections where you play as Sly once again the most fun, and playing as Bentley or Murray is always less fun. Especially in episode 7 where they usually have to walk long distances to reach an object as they can't jump as high as Sly to traverse to the levels faster, as it is more designed for Sly than for Bentley or Murray, which makes their sections much less enjoyable to play through, resulting in an overall less enjoyable episode. Furthermore, at this point the mission fatigue sets in, as you have been going through the same mission designed for 8 episodes, making it less engaging to do a mission compared to the earlier episodes where they still felt fresh and new. Other sections I don't really like are the tank sessions with Murray, and that is all thanks to the awkward tank controls, with the left control stick controlling the left track of the tank and the right stick controls the right track. I don't know why the developers thought this was a good idea, as these controls makes these sections incredibly clunky to control and not fun whatsoever. Graphics in Sly 2 are even better than in the first game, with improved character models and more expansive hub worlds. This makes it even more appealing to look at than the first game, which already had a distinct art style that made it age really good. While I didn't mind the original Sly design in the first game, this one is even better, as the mouth movement feels much more natural and less distracting than how it was in the original game. There were a few glitches throughout my playthrough, but they were never game breaking. One occurred during some conversations, where Sly's head seemed to be levitating, which takes the seriousness away from the cutscene and never ceases to be funny, but is certainly no deal breaker. The soundtrack of the first Sly game was already great, but didn't have too many memorable tracks. But that one is nothing compared to the soundtrack of Sly 2. Sly 2 has very catchy tunes that will stick out in your head after having beaten the game. The highlight for me is definitely Dimitri's Disco Club, which I keep listening to on repeat because it's just so good. Sly 2 Band of Thieves shows what the sequel should do. It improves on the gameplay design, integrating the missions with the narrative and story, making you as the player feel much more involved. The characters are now much more fleshed out, with Bentley and Murray no longer standing in Sly's shadow and greatly contributing to the success of a mission, while also being likable characters that are more than just a simple trait. The story itself will keep you at the edge of your seat to find out what is going to happen next, and is a great motivation for you to keep playing. Finally, the graphics and soundtrack of this game are fantastic, making for a game that has aged incredibly well. All of this combined makes it superior to the original Sly game and makes it one of my favorite games on the PlayStation 2. And seeing what classics have been released on that system, that is saying a lot.